morning to you. So, a quick recap of day 13. It was a big day. Something that I've been tussling with, and I've been tussling with it for years. And that's scary. It's scary when you look at your life and you find things or seasons or areas where you allowed fear to limit your capacity. You made decisions or you didn't make decisions based on fear. And, I'd like to think of myself as someone who is supremely confident and courageous and willing to bet on himself. And those things are true. However, there are parts of my journey that I have to be really, really raw and honest with. And one of them has been what does going all out really mean? Like, what does giving yourself over to something 100% without holding anything back, really risking massive failure? Like, you just fall completely on your face. And then you have the willingness to get back up. Well, I was doing some accountability work, and it's very difficult because you really you can't bullshit. Like, we're all masters of self-deception in some way, shape, or form. We'd like to think that we have attained certain levels of achievement or success. We'd like to think we're putting our best foot forward, and maybe we have some skills in some areas, and maybe we have had some success, but also maybe we've been getting by because we're good at this, or we have a certain strength here and we leverage that, and we leverage it against just enough effort to make it look like we're working hard. We leverage it against just enough effort so that we can convince ourselves that we're really putting forth our best. And when I was looking in the mirror, I realized that I worked hard, but I left some gas in the tank. I worked hard, but I didn't really, truly give it 100%. And I heard this phrase from a young man, Danny, and he said the difference between 100% and 99% is 100%. So again, you might be working hard. You might be getting results. You may be head and shoulders above the pack. That doesn't matter. What matters is your personal standard. What matters is your personal effort. And if you're giving something 99% and you feel good because you know that the person to your left and right, they're barely giving 70%, and you're ahead of the pack in terms of your success and your skills and your income, but you know deep down inside that you're not giving it 100%, that's the tragedy. That's the crime, because you're robbing yourself. Has nothing to do with anybody else. And me looking in that mirror and having to face that is painful. It bothers me. It's a gut punch that I'm giving to myself. And so yesterday, day 13, was big. It was really big because I've been struggling with this for years. Because the problem for me was that in giving, I'm not even going to say 99%. I'll say I was giving about 90%, and that was for blocks of time. It wasn't even consistently. But because I was able to get away with giving 90%, because I knew deep down inside that most people were not even going to give 70 or even 60%, and because there were great results from it, I coasted on that. That's just the honest truth of the matter. And the reason I've been struggling with it for so long is because it won't go away. It won't go away. See, there are some people, and they'll say, I'm content, Ed. Like you know, I kind of did this or I'm doing that. I'm content with where I'm at. Like I have a good job or I have I have a good business. We're making revenue, and I don't really aspire to more. Like there's nothing in the pit of my stomach that says you can do better, and that's fine. I'm not. That's not the the person or the people that this message is for. This message is for me, first and foremost. I'm talking to myself, but it's for those of you who you have this divine dissatisfaction. Like you just know that you were made to be more and to do more and to have more. You know that there's a higher standard for you to reach in your life. You may not know how you're going to do it, but you just know. It's like a gnawing, it just doesn't go away. In this conversation of Ed, you haven't even given it 100. You've never given it 100%. Well, I shouldn't say. I should. I'm not going to say never because when I was an actor, it was 100%. There's no question about it. But it's been a while since you've really, really, truly given it 100%. You've had moments where it was like 90, and you were consistently giving 90%, but you've never given it 100%. Why? Fear. Fear of what that really looks like. Fear of just giving it everything that I have consistently for a season. What am I afraid of? I don't know. I don't know. Like some people, they'll say they have a fear of success. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I know that I'm not going to allow fear to prevent me from giving 100%. I think it's just, man, what does that look like? And if I put too much thought into it, again, I'm going to talk myself. I'll delay, I'll procrastinate more. So yesterday was a big day. It was a very big day because it was a clarity and understanding of I can't leave that on the table. There's so many. There's levels to this, and I am aspiring to the next level. I can't tell you what that's going to look like. I can just tell you that I'm committing to myself to do it.